The moment Ethan Vale realized his billion-dollar empire was built on someone's broken dreams, the woman he loved was standing right in front of him, and she was that someone's daughter. This is a story about money, mistakes, and whether love can survive the truth. A billionaire who has everything except peace. A waitress who lost everything except hope. And one impossible question: can you forgive the person who destroyed your family when you've already fallen in love with them? Stay with me until the end, hit that like button, and comment what city you're watching from so I can see how far this story travels. The champagne tasted like nothing. Ethan Vale held the crystal flute between his fingers, watching bubbles rise and die, while around him, Manhattan's elite celebrated like he'd just cured cancer instead of closing another acquisition. The restaurant, someplace with a name he couldn't pronounce and a wait list longer than most people's retirement plans, hummed with the kind of energy that only existed when everyone in the room had more money than problems. Except he had both. "To Ethan!" someone shouted. Marcus, probably. His CFO had been half drunk since the contracts cleared at 4. Glasses clinked. People laughed. Ethan smiled the smile he'd been wearing since he was 23 and realized that looking happy was cheaper than being happy. Speech! A woman in a dress that cost more than a Honda grabbed his arm. He didn't remember her name. Didn't remember inviting her either, but that's how these things worked. Success had gravity. It pulled people toward you whether you wanted them there or not. Ethan stood. The room went quiet except for the pianist in the corner who clearly hadn't gotten the memo. "Thank you all for being here," he started, and the words came out smooth because he'd said versions of them 100 times before. This deal represents not just growth for Vale Industries, but opportunity, innovation, the future. More applause, more empty noise. He sat down before anyone could ask him to elaborate, because the truth was, he barely remembered what company they'd just bought. Some tech startup, cloud something. His team had handled the details. He'd just signed where they told him to sign. His phone buzzed. A text from Sophie, his sister. "How's the celebration? Emma's asking when Uncle Ethan is coming home." Emma, his daughter, 6 years old and the only person on earth who looked at him like he was worth something beyond his bank account. He typed back, "Soon. Tell her I love her." The lie sat bitter on his tongue. It wouldn't be soon. It never was. "Mr. Vale?" A soft voice cut through his thoughts. He looked up. The waitress stood beside his table, holding a tray that looked too heavy for her thin arms. She wasn't like the others working tonight. No practiced smile, no rehearsed enthusiasm. She looked tired, real tired, the kind that lived in your bones. "Your entree, sir." She set down a plate of something artistic and probably delicious and definitely overpriced. "Thank you," Ethan said, but she was already turning away. "Wait." She stopped, turned back. Her eyes were brown, dark brown, and there was something in them, not anger exactly, but not happiness either. Just quiet, like she'd learned a long time ago that making noise didn't help. "What's your name?" She hesitated. "Mara." "Mara." He tested it. "How long have you worked here?" 3 months. Her fingers tightened on the empty tray. She wanted to leave. He could tell. "Do you like it?" "It pays." Not yes, not it's great. Just it pays. Someone called her name from across the room. She glanced over, then back at him. "I should—" "Of course, sorry." Ethan released her from the conversation, and she walked away quickly, like she was escaping. He watched her move through the crowd. She didn't glide like the other servers, all polish and performance. She moved careful, deliberate, like someone who'd learned to take up as little space as possible. "Who's that?" Marcus appeared beside him, following Ethan's gaze. "No one. Doesn't look like no one." Ethan cut into his steak. "Drop it." But he couldn't. For the rest of the night, he tracked her without meaning to. The way she carried herself, the way she listened when people ordered, really listened, instead of just waiting for them to stop talking. The way she smiled at an older couple in the corner, genuine, not the customer service version everyone else wore. By the time dessert arrived, he'd made a decision he couldn't explain. When Mara brought the check, he'd already filled out the tip line, $500. Her eyes went wide when she saw it. "Sir, this is—" "Correct." "I can't—" "You can." He stood, buttoning his jacket. Buy yourself something nice, or don't. It's yours either way. She looked at him like she was trying to figure out if this was a trick. Why? Good question. He didn't have a good answer. Because you're the only person in this room who seems real, he said finally. Then he left before she could give it back. The next 3 days were a blur of meetings and phone calls and Emma's soccer game, where she scored twice and he missed both goals because he was checking email. She didn't complain. She never did. Just hugged him after and said she was glad he came. That night, after she fell asleep, he stood in her doorway watching her breathe. 6 years old. Growing up in a penthouse with everything except the one thing that mattered, time with him. Her mother had known. Amanda had seen what he was becoming back when they were still married and still pretending that love could survive his ambition. She'd left when Emma was 2, not because she didn't love their daughter, because she did. She deserves better than this, Amanda had said, than us. So Emma lived with her mother most of the time, came to Ethan on weekends, and he tried to compress a week's worth of parenting into 2 days. It never worked. You couldn't microwave connection. His phone rang. Unknown number. Normally he wouldn't answer, but something made him pick up. Hello? Static, then a voice. Familiar, but not. Mr. Vale? Yes? This is Mara, from Luminaire. She paused. I got your number from the reservation. I'm sorry, I shouldn't have... It's fine. His heart was beating faster, and he didn't know why. Is everything okay? I wanted to return your tip. He frowned. What? It's too much. I can't accept it. Mara, I can meet you tomorrow, anywhere. I'll bring cash. She sounded scared. Not of him, of owing something, of debt. Ethan understood debt, just not the kind you could pay back with money. Keep it, he said. I can't. Why not? Because, her voice cracked. Because I don't know what you want. The words hit him harder than they should have. Nothing, he said quietly. I want nothing. It was just a tip. Nobody tips $500 for nothing. Fair point. Meet me tomorrow, he said. Not to give it back. Just meet me. Silence. Please. He never said please, not to anyone, not in years. Okay, she whispered. They met at a coffee shop in Brooklyn. His driver had looked confused when Ethan gave him the address, nowhere near his usual spots, but didn't ask questions. Mara was already there when he arrived, sitting at a corner table with her hands wrapped around a mug like she needed it for warmth, even though it was 60 degrees outside. Hi, he said. Hi. He sat down, ordered coffee he didn't want, waited. She spoke first. I brought the money. I don't want it. Mr. Vale. Ethan, please. She looked at him. Really looked. Like she was trying to read something written in a language she didn't speak. Why did you want to meet me? She asked. Honest question. Deserved an honest answer. I don't know, he admitted. You seemed different. Different how? Real. She almost smiled. You say that like it's rare. In my world, it is. Maybe you need a different world. The words should have sounded judgmental. They didn't. Just sad. Maybe, he agreed. They sat in silence for a minute. Not awkward. Just there. Can I ask you something? Ethan said. Sure. Why are you working at Luminaire? You don't... He searched for the right words. You don't seem like you fit there. I don't fit anywhere. She said it simply. Fact, not complaint. But it pays better than most places, and I need the money. For what? She hesitated. Does it matter? No, I'm just curious. Another pause, then art school. Or I did. I dropped out 2 years ago. Why? Life got complicated. He waited. She sighed. My dad got sick, cancer. The bills were substantial, so I left school, got a job, helped where I could. He died anyway. 6 months ago. I'm sorry. Thank you. She turned her mug in slow circles. Now I work 3 jobs trying to pay off what's left. the restaurant, a gallery on weekends, and I teach art to kids in a community center Tuesday nights. 3 jobs, teaching kids for probably nothing, and she was trying to give back his tip. Keep the money, Ethan said. I told you. Keep it. Use it for the bills, or art supplies, or anything. He leaned forward. I have more money than I'll ever spend. You clearly need it more. There's no trick, no catch. Just take it. She stared at him like he was speaking another language. Why do you care? Good question. He still didn't have a good answer. Because someone should, he said. Her eyes went bright. Not quite tears, but close. Thank you, she whispered. You're welcome. They talked for another hour. About nothing. About everything. She told him about growing up in Queens, about her brother who was struggling, about the students she taught who had more talent than opportunity. He told her about Emma, about the soccer games he missed, about the empire he'd built that felt more like a prison every day. When they finally left, the sun was setting, painting Brooklyn in shades of orange and gold. Can I see you again? Ethan asked. She looked surprised. Why? Because talking to you is the first time in years I haven't felt like I'm drowning. The honesty surprised them both. Okay, Mara said, but no more giant tips. He smiled. Deal. Maz. They started meeting once a week. Coffee shops, parks, nowhere fancy, nowhere that felt like his world. He learned things, small things. She took her coffee black because cream was an unnecessary expense. She walked everywhere because the subway made her anxious after her dad died on a platform waiting for the train that would take him to treatment. She painted at night when she couldn't sleep, covering canvases with colors that looked like emotion made visible. Can I see them? He asked once. No. Why not? Because they're mine. He understood that. There were parts of himself he didn't show anyone either. Emma met her by accident. He'd brought his daughter to the park, and Mara had been there sketching. Emma had run over, fascinated, and before Ethan could stop her, she was asking a million questions. Mara answered everyone. Patient, kind, real. I like her, Emma announced later. She's nice. She is, Ethan agreed. Are you going to marry her? What? No, we're just friends. Emma gave him the look. The one that said she was 6 but not stupid. Okay, Dad. But the question stuck with him. Because somewhere in the past few weeks, Mara had become more than a distraction, more than a break from his normal life. She'd become the part of his life that felt normal. He told her as much one evening. They were walking through Brooklyn Bridge Park, the Manhattan skyline glowing across the water. I don't know what this is, he said, but I know I don't want it to stop. Mara stopped walking, looked at him. Ethan, you know this can't work, right? Why not? Because you're you and I'm me. Because you have billions and I have debt. Because your world and my world don't even exist on the same planet. So what? So everything. She turned toward the water. People like you don't end up with people like me. That's not how the story goes. Maybe we write a different story. She laughed, bitter. You don't get it. I'm not some project, some charity case you get to feel good about. That's not what this is. Isn't it? She faced him. Be honest. Would you have looked at me twice if I wasn't serving you dinner? If I wasn't some struggling waitress you could save? The question hurt because part of it was true. He had noticed her because she was different from his world. But that wasn't why he kept coming back. I looked at you because you were the only real thing in that room, he said. I keep looking because you're the only real thing in my life. That's sad. I know. They stood there, the city lights reflecting in the water, and Ethan felt something shift, not breaking, just bending. I should go, Mara said quietly. Wait. I have to work early tomorrow. Mara, thank you for tonight. She left before he could stop her. He didn't hear from her for 3 days. On day 4, she called. Can you meet me? Now? Her voice sounded wrong, strained. Where are you? She gave him an address in Brooklyn. He was there in 20 minutes. She was sitting on the steps of a brownstone, arms wrapped around herself, even though it wasn't cold. What happened? He sat beside her. My brother. She was crying, not loud, just steady tears that she didn't bother wiping away. He overdosed. They found him this morning. Ethan's chest went tight. Is he alive? Barely. They're keeping him for observation, but after that, she shook her head. He needs help, real help, treatment. But it costs money I don't have, and insurance won't cover it, and I don't know what to do. She broke then, really broke. And Ethan did the only thing he could think of. He pulled her close and let her cry into his shoulder while the evening traffic hummed past and the world kept spinning like nothing was wrong. I'll pay for it, he said. She pulled back. What? The treatment. I'll pay for it. Ethan, no. Yes. That's not why I called you. I didn't call you for money. I know, but I'm offering anyway. She stared at him. Why would you do that? Because you need help. And I can help. It's that simple. Nothing's that simple. This is... She looked like she wanted to argue, but she was too tired, too scared. Okay, she whispered. Okay, thank you. He made calls that night. By morning, her brother, Daniel, was enrolled in a 90-day program at a facility upstate. Top-rated, expensive. Worth it if it worked. Mara called him crying. Happy crying this time. I don't know how to repay you, she said. You don't have to. Ethan, seriously, just get your brother healthy. That's enough. There was a long pause. Can I see you tonight? She asked. Always. Waitress. Dinner was at a small Italian place in her neighborhood. Nothing like Billionaire. The tablecloths were checkered, the menu was laminated, and the waiter looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Ethan loved it. This is perfect, he said. Mara smiled. You're easy to please. Only when I'm with you. The words came out before he could stop them. Too honest. Too much. But she didn't pull away. Ethan, she said slowly, what are we doing? I don't know. What do you want us to be doing? I want... She looked down at her hands. I want to believe this is real. That you're not going to wake up one day and realize I'm just some waitress who doesn't fit in your life. You're not just anything, and you fit better than anyone ever has. But for how long? He reached across the table, took her hand. As long as you'll let me stay. She squeezed his fingers. I'm scared. Me too. Of what? That I'll mess this up. That I'll hurt you. That I'm too broken to be what you need. She smiled, sad but soft. We're all broken, Ethan. That's not the problem. What is? Whether we break each other more or help each other heal. He lifted her hand to his lips, kissed her knuckles. Let's find out. They talked until the restaurant closed. Then they walked through Brooklyn, hands linked, while she pointed out buildings and murals and little pieces of her world. At her door, she hesitated. Do you want to come up? She asked. Is that what you want? I asked first. He smiled. Yes. Her apartment was small, tiny, really. One room that served as bedroom, living room, and studio. Canvases everywhere. Some finished, most not. Paint-stained drop cloths. The smell of turpentine and coffee. It was perfect. It's not much, she said. It's you. She showed him her work. Pieces she'd never let anyone see. Abstract, mostly. Colors bleeding into each other like thoughts that didn't have words yet. These are incredible, he said. They're just paint. No, they're you. Your heart on canvas. She looked at him like he'd said something profound instead of obvious. No one's ever understood that before. Then you've been showing them to the wrong people. They sat on her floor, backs against the couch, shoulders touching. Can I ask you something? Mara said. Anything. Why are you so empty? The question should have offended him. It didn't. I don't know, he admitted. I spent 20 years building an empire, making money, winning. And somewhere along the way, I forgot why I was doing it. Now it's just momentum. I keep going because stopping feels like failing. That sounds exhausting. It is. So stop. He laughed. It's not that easy. Why not? Because people depend on me. Employees, shareholders, Emma. Does Emma need your money or your time? Direct hit. Both, he said quietly. But which one does she need more? He didn't answer. Couldn't. Mara turned to face him. You're not happy, Ethan. No. Do you want to be? I don't know if I remember how. She touched his face, gentle. Then maybe we figure it out together. He kissed her, slow, careful, like she might disappear if he moved too fast. She kissed him back, and for the first time in years, Ethan felt something other than empty. The next morning, he woke up on her couch. She was already awake, painting by the window, early light cutting across her face. "Morning," he said. She looked over, smiled. "Hi. What are you painting?" "You." He sat up. "Can I see?" "No." "Why not?" "Because it's not done, and because you'll make me self-conscious." He walked over anyway. The painting was abstract, blues and grays and something gold breaking through. It didn't look like him, but it felt like him. "Is that how you see me?" he asked. "Sometimes. And other times? Other times you're darker, more red than blue." "Which one's real?" "Both." She set down her brush. "People aren't one color, Ethan. We're all mixed." He kissed the top of her head. "Profound before coffee. I'm impressed." She laughed. "Shut up." His phone rang. Emma's name on the screen. "Hey, sweetheart." "Daddy, where are you? Sophie said you didn't come home last night." Guilt stabbed through him. "I'm in Brooklyn. I had a late meeting." "Oh." Pause. "Are you coming to my recital today?" Recital, piano. He'd forgotten. "Of course. What time?" 3. "I'll be there." "Promise?" "Promise." He hung up, looked at Mara. "You forgot," she said. Not accusing, just knowing. "Yeah." "Go, be with her." "Come with me." She blinked. "What?" "Come with me. Meet Emma properly. See this part of my life." "Ethan, I don't think—" "Please." She studied him. "You're sure?" "Completely." "Okay." The recital was at Emma's school. Ethan arrived early with Mara, who looked nervous in a way he'd never seen. "They're going to judge me," she whispered. "Who?" "Everyone. The other parents. They'll take one look and know I don't belong." "You belong because I want you here." "That's not how the world works." "Maybe not." But he was tired of living by the world's rules. Emma found them in the crowd. Her face lit up when she saw Mara. "You came." "I did," Mara said. "Your dad invited me." "Are you his girlfriend now?" Mara's face went red. Ethan tried not to laugh. "We're friends," he said. "Uh-huh." Emma was 6 but skeptical. "You're sitting together, right?" "Wouldn't miss it," Mara said. The recital was exactly what you'd expect. Kids stumbling through simple pieces, parents beaming like their children were prodigies. Emma played Furelise, got through most of it before her fingers fumbled, but she recovered and finished strong. Ethan stood and clapped like she'd just won a Grammy. Afterward, Emma ran over. "Did you see? I only messed up once." "You were perfect," he said. "Mara, did you like it?" "I loved it. You have real talent." Emma practically glowed. They got ice cream after. The 3 of them sitting on a bench in Central Park while Emma talked nonstop about school and friends and the hamster her mom finally agreed to let her get. Ethan watched Mara with his daughter. The easy way she listened, the genuine interest, the lack of condescension that most adults showed kids. "I like her," Emma announced when Mara went to throw away their cups. "I know." "She's pretty." "She is. And nice." "Very." "You should definitely marry her." Ethan laughed. "It's complicated, Em." "Why?" 6-year-old logic. Why indeed? Mara came back. They walked through the park, Emma between them, holding both their hands. For a few hours, Ethan felt like he was living someone else's life. Someone happier, someone whole. Then his phone rang. Marcus. He almost didn't answer. "Yeah?" "We have a problem. The Meridian acquisition. Their board is pushing back on the terms." Ethan's jaw tightened. "I thought we had an agreement." "We did. Now we don't. They want another meeting. Tomorrow, 8 a.m. Tomorrow, Sunday." "I can't. Ethan, this is a $400 million deal." "I said I can't." Silence on the other end, then, "Are you serious right now?" He looked at Emma, at Mara. "Move it to Monday." "They won't." "Make them. That's why I pay you." He hung up. Mara was watching him. "Everything okay?" "Yeah, just work." But it wasn't. Because that night, after he dropped Mara home and put Emma to bed, he sat in his study staring at spreadsheets and contracts and thought about what she'd asked him. "Do you want to be happy?" He didn't know, but he wanted to find out. The following week blurred past. More meetings, more calls, more time away from the people he actually wanted to see. He and Mara talked on the phone every night, long conversations that felt like oxygen. "Tell me something real," she'd say. And he would. Things he'd never told anyone. About his father, who died when Ethan was 19 and left him nothing but debt and disappointment. About building Vail Industries from nothing because he refused to be his father. About Amanda leaving and how he couldn't even blame her. "You carry a lot," Mara said one night. "So do you." "Yeah, but I'm learning to put some of it down." "How?" "By letting people help, by admitting I can't do everything alone." Pause. "You should try it." "I'm not good at needing people." I noticed. He smiled into the phone. "You calling me out?" "Someone has to." "Fair." Silence. Comfortable. "I miss you," he said. "I miss you too. When can I see you?" "I'm working double shifts this week. Daniel's treatment is expensive even with your help, and I want to pay you back." "Mara, no. Let me finish. I want to pay you back because owing you money makes this feel complicated, and I want this to be simple." "Nothing about us is simple." "I know, but I want to try." "Okay, then let me help another way." "How?" An idea had been forming. Crazy, probably, but maybe crazy was what he needed. "My foundation," he said. "Vail Industries has an education foundation. We're supposed to fund arts programs and scholarships, but honestly, it's been on autopilot for years. I barely pay attention to it." "Okay. I want to rebuild it, actually make it matter, and I want your help." "Ethan, I don't know anything about running a foundation. But you know what students need. You teach them. You see what's missing. That's worth more than any MBA. I don't have time. I'll pay you. A real salary. You can quit the restaurant. Focus on one job instead of 3. Think about it. Please." She was quiet for a long time. "Okay," she said finally. "I'll think about it." 3 days later, she called him. "Yes." "Yes?" "Yes, I'll help with the foundation, on one condition." "Name it." "We do this right, not some vanity project. Real programs that actually help kids who need it." "Deal." She started the following Monday. Ethan set her up with an office at Vail Industries headquarters. Nothing huge, but hers. A desk, a window, space to think. The staff looked at her like she'd materialized from another dimension, which, to them, she probably had. "Who's that?" his assistant whispered. "Mara Ellis. She's heading up the foundation redesign." "Since when do we redesign the foundation?" "Since now." Mara threw herself into the work like she'd been waiting her whole life for it. She interviewed students, visited schools, came back with notebooks full of ideas. "We're funding the wrong things," she told him one afternoon. They were in his office, surrounded by reports. "We give scholarships to kids who are already going to make it, the straight A students, the ones with support systems. But what about the kids who are talented but struggling, the ones who need more than money? What do they need? Mentorship, space, supplies, time? We can't just throw cash at the problem and call it solved." She was right. They started redesigning everything. Smaller grants, but more of them. Partnerships with community centers. Actual programs instead of just checks. The board hated it. "This isn't cost-effective," Marcus argued during a meeting. "We're spending more to help fewer people." "We're spending more to actually help people," Ethan corrected. "There's a difference." "The optics, Ika, I don't care about optics." Mara, sitting beside him, squeezed his hand under the table. After the meeting, Marcus pulled him aside. "What's going on with you?" "What do you mean?" "You're different. Distracted. Is this about the girl?" "Her name is Mara." "Fine. Mara, is this about her?" Ethan considered lying, decided not to. "Yeah, it is." Marcus sighed. "Look, I get it. She's pretty, smart, makes you feel good. But mixing business and personal, we're not mixing anything. She's helping the foundation because she's qualified. She's a waitress. She's an artist, a teacher, someone who actually gives a damn about the work instead of the profit margin. Ethan, this conversation is over. He walked away before Marcus could respond. That night, Mara asked him about it. Marcus cornered me today, she said. They were at her apartment eating takeout on the floor. Wanted to know what my deal was. What did you tell him? That I'm here to do a job. And? And he didn't believe me. Ethan set down his food. Does it bother you? People talking? A little, but mostly I just feel out of place. Everyone at Vale has degrees and experience, and I'm just, don't. He turned to face her. Don't diminish yourself. You belong there. Do I? Yes. She looked at him. What if this doesn't work? The foundation, I mean. It will. But what if it doesn't? What if I fail and everyone sees that you only hired me because we're... She stopped. Whatever we are. What do you think we are? I don't know. Do you? Ethan took her hand. I think I'm falling in love with you, and it scares the hell out of me. Her breath caught. Ethan, you don't have to say it back. I just needed you to know. She kissed him. Soft at first, then deeper, like she was trying to tell him something words couldn't. When they broke apart, she whispered, I'm falling too. They held each other on that floor, surrounded by empty containers and half-finished paintings, and Ethan felt something shift inside him. Not healing, not yet, but maybe the start of it. Go. 2 weeks later, Daniel got out of treatment. Mara asked Ethan to come with her to pick him up. He said yes, without hesitation. The facility was upstate, quiet, trees everywhere, the kind of place that looked like it could fix you if you let it. Daniel looked different, thinner, tired, but his eyes were clear. Hey, sis, he said. Mara hugged him hard enough to hurt. Hey. Daniel looked at Ethan over her shoulder. You must be the guy. Ethan. He extended his hand. Daniel shook it. Thanks. For pain. Mara told me. You're welcome. The drive back was quiet. Daniel stared out the window like he was seeing the world for the first time. At Mara's apartment, he sat on the couch looking lost. You okay? Mara asked. Yeah, just weird being out. You hungry? I can make something. I'm good. Awkward silence. Ethan stood. I should go. Give you two some time. You don't have to, Mara said. I know, but I want to. He kissed her forehead, nodded at Daniel, left. In the car, his phone rang. Amanda. Hey. We need to talk about Emma. His stomach dropped. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong, but she's been asking about you, about the woman you've been seeing. Mara. Right, Emma likes her. A lot. Which is fine, but... Amanda paused. I need to know this is serious, because if it's not, I don't want Emma getting attached. Fair. It's serious, Ethan said. How serious? I'm in love with her. Silence. Then, wow, okay. Is that a problem? No, I'm happy for you, really. Just be careful. With Emma's heart. And yours. I will. After he hung up, he realized Amanda was right to worry, because loving someone meant risk, and he'd spent years building walls specifically to avoid it. But Mara was worth the risk. He was sure of it. The next month was the happiest he could remember. Work during the day, Mara at night, Emma on weekends, a life that felt like living instead of surviving. The foundation was growing. They'd launched 3 pilot programs, funded 15 students. The feedback was overwhelming. You're doing good work, Ethan told Mara one evening. We're doing good work, she corrected. I'm just writing checks. You're using your power for something that matters, that counts. He kissed her. When did you get so wise? I've always been wise. You just weren't paying attention. I'm paying attention now. I noticed. They were lying in his bed. She'd started staying over some nights. When she said it, I need to tell you something. Her tone made him tense. Okay. It's about my dad. What about him? She sat up, wrapped her arms around her knees. You know he died 6 months ago. What I didn't tell you is how he died. You said cancer. He had cancer, but that's not what killed him. She took a shaky breath. He killed himself. Ethan sat up. Mara, he lost everything. His business, his reputation, his will to fight. And one night he just gave up. I'm so sorry. There's more. She looked at him. The reason he lost everything, it was because of a company. They bought out his contracts, undercut his prices, forced him out of business, destroyed him. Something cold settled in Ethan's chest. What company? She didn't answer right away. Mara, what company? Vale Industries. Well, the words hit him like a physical blow. What? 12 years ago, you acquired a manufacturing firm, Mitchell Solutions. That was my dad's company. You didn't just buy it, you gutted it. Ethan's mind raced. 12 years ago. He'd been 20, hungry, building his empire one acquisition at a time. Mitchell Solutions. He remembered it vaguely. Small operation, good contracts. They'd taken what they wanted and dissolved the rest. Standard business. Mara, he never recovered. Spent years trying to rebuild, failed, lost our house, lost his health, lost his hope. Tears streamed down her face, and I watched him fade, inch by inch, until there was nothing left. I didn't know. How could you? You probably don't even remember it. Just another deal, another line on a spreadsheet. She was right. He didn't remember. That was the worst part. Why didn't you tell me? His voice was barely a whisper. Because I didn't know it was you, not at first. I knew Vale Industries was involved, but I didn't connect it to you until I started working on the foundation and saw the old acquisition files. When? 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks. She'd known for 2 weeks and said nothing. Why tell me now? Because I can't keep lying. To you or to myself. She looked at him. I thought I could separate it. The man you were from the man you are. But I can't. Every time I look at you, I see both. Ethan felt like he was falling. Do you hate me? I don't know. She was crying harder now. I want to. Part of me does. But part of me loves you, and I don't know how to hold both things at the same time. Mara, I need space, time. I can't be here right now. She got up, started gathering her things. Please don't go, he said. I have to. We can work through this. Can we? She stopped at the door, looked back. Your company destroyed my family. You didn't pull the trigger, but you loaded the gun. How do we work through that? He had no answer. She left. And Ethan sat in his empty bedroom, surrounded by luxury he didn't want, and felt the weight of every choice he'd ever made crushing down on him. The apartment felt like a tomb after she left. Ethan sat on the edge of his bed for an hour, maybe 2, watching the city lights blur in through the window. His phone sat silent on the nightstand. No calls, no texts, nothing. He wanted to chase after her, bang on her door until she answered, explain that he wasn't that person anymore, that he'd changed. But had he? 12 years ago, he'd destroyed a man's livelihood without a second thought. Signed papers that looked like numbers instead of lives. Mitchell Solutions. He barely remembered the name. How many other families had he broken while building his empire? His phone finally buzzed around 3 in the morning. Not Mara. Marcus. We need to talk about the foundation. Ethan's jaw tightened. It's 3 a.m. I've been looking at the numbers. The new programs are bleeding money. We're spending 3 times what we budgeted. So increase the budget. That's not how this works. The board wants to scale back, return to the original model. No. Ethan, be reasonable. I said no. We're doing this right or not at all. Is this about the girl? Because if she's influencing... Ethan hung up. He spent the rest of the night in his study, pulling files he hadn't looked at in years. Acquisitions from when he was young and hungry and stupid. Mitchell Solutions was there. A 3-page summary of a man's entire career reduced to bullet points and profit margins. Contracts seized, assets liquidated, staff terminated, standard business. He'd signed off without reading the details. Trusted his team to handle it. That was the problem. He'd built an empire by not looking too close, by treating people like numbers, by winning at any cost. And somewhere in Queens, a man named Mitchell Ellis had paid that cost with everything he had. Morning came. Ethan didn't sleep. He called Mara. Voicemail. Called again. Voicemail. Texted, "Please talk to me." No response. He went to her apartment. Knocked. Nothing. "She's not there." A neighbor poked her head out. "Left early this morning with a suitcase." His stomach dropped. "Did she say where she was going?" "Nope, just said she needed time away." Ethan stood in that hallway feeling like the floor had vanished beneath him. She was gone. The next few days passed in a fog. He went through the motions, meetings, calls, Emma's weekend visit where he was physically present but mentally absent. "Daddy, you're sad," Emma said on Sunday. They were supposed to be watching a movie. He hadn't absorbed a single scene. "I'm fine, sweetheart." "You're lying." 6 years old, and she could read him better than anyone. "I had a fight with Mara," he admitted. "Are you going to make up?" "I don't know." "You should say sorry." "It's more complicated than that." "Why?" "Because I destroyed her father's life and didn't even remember doing it. Because some things sorry can't fix." "It just is," he said. Emma climbed into his lap. "I think you should try anyway. Mara's nice, and she makes you smile." "She does." "Then fight for her. Like in the movies." If only it were that simple. Monday morning brought another crisis. The board called an emergency meeting about the foundation. Ethan showed up late on purpose. Let them sweat. "We're voting to suspend the new programs," Marcus announced. "Return to the traditional scholarship model until we can reassess." "No," Ethan said. "You don't have unilateral authority here. I have controlling interest." "That's pretty unilateral." "Ethan, please be rational about this." "I am being rational. Those programs are working. Kids who would have fallen through the cracks are getting help. Real help. And you want to shut it down because the numbers don't look pretty enough?" "The foundation exists to serve the company's interests," one of the board members said. "Public relations, tax benefits. This new direction doesn't align with those goals." "Then maybe our goals are wrong." Silence around the table. "I'm not shutting down the programs," Ethan continued. "If anything, I want to expand them. Double the budget. Triple it. Actually make a difference instead of just looking like we care." "That's not fiscally responsible." "I don't care. We have billions. We can afford to help people." "This is about the girl," Marcus said. "Mara, she's gotten in your head." "She opened my eyes. There's a difference." "To what? Some fantasy where you save the world and everyone loves you? That's not reality, Ethan. Reality is that we're a corporation. We exist to make money. Everything else is window dressing." Ethan stood. "Then I'm done playing dress up." He walked out before they could vote. His assistant caught him in the hallway. "Sir, you can't just leave. Watch me." He went to the one place that made sense, Mars Community Center in Brooklyn. The building was old, paint peeling, floors scuffed from decades of use. But inside, kids filled every corner, drawing, painting, creating. He found the director in a cramped office that smelled like coffee and hope. "Mr. Vale." She looked surprised. "Mara's not here." "I know, I came to talk to you about the programs we're funding." She gestured to a chair. He sat. "How are they working?" he asked. "Honestly, they're life-changing. We've been able to hire 2 more teachers, buy supplies, extend hours. Kids who couldn't afford materials now have access to everything they need." "And it's making a difference?" "See for yourself." She led him to the main room. 20 kids aged 8 to 16, heads bent over canvases and sketchbooks. Focused, engaged, alive. One girl looked up. "Are you the guy?" Ethan blinked. "What guy?" "The guy who's paying for all this." "Miss Mara's friend." "Yeah, I guess I am." "Thank you." She said it simple, sincere. Something cracked in his chest. He spent an hour there, watching kids create. They showed him their work without prompting. A boy drawing his neighborhood, a girl painting her grandmother, a teenager sketching buildings that didn't exist yet. "That's amazing," Ethan told the teenager. "Thanks. I want to be an architect." "You will be." The kid grinned. "Miss Mara says the same thing." Of course she did. On his way out, the director stopped him. "Whatever you and Mara are dealing with, fix it. She belongs here. With these kids, with this work." "I'm trying." "Try harder." He drove home thinking about those kids. about the difference money could make when it was aimed at the right target, about how much he'd wasted on things that didn't matter. His phone rang. Unknown number. He answered anyway. Is this Ethan Vale? Yes. This is Daniel, Mara's brother. Ethan's pulse jumped. Is she okay? Physically? Yeah. Otherwise? Pause. She's at my place. Has been since she left. She's a mess, man. Can I talk to her? She doesn't want to talk to you. I know, but I need to explain. But explain what? That you destroyed our dad's company? She told me everything. Ethan's throat went tight. I didn't know. Doesn't matter. You still did it. You're right. I did. And I can't undo that. But I can try to make it right. How? Good question. I don't know yet, but I'm going to figure it out. Daniel was quiet for a long moment. She loves you. You know that, right? I know. That's why she's so destroyed, because she wanted to hate you and she can't. What do I do? I have no idea, but for what it's worth, she's not the only one you helped. That treatment program saved my life. I don't know if Mara told you, but I've been clean for 6 weeks. Longest I've been sober in 5 years. I'm glad. So yeah, you did one good thing. Maybe you can do more. He hung up. Ethan sat in his car outside his building, phone in hand, and made a decision. He called his lawyer. I need you to pull every acquisition file from the last 15 years, every company we bought, every contract we seized, all of it. That's going to be hundreds of documents. I don't care. I want them by Friday. What are you looking for? Damage. The files arrived Thursday. Boxes of them. Ethan cleared his dining table and started reading. Mitchell Solutions was just the beginning. Over the years, Vale Industries had acquired 47 companies. Of those, 31 had been dismantled, assets stripped, employees laid off, owners left with nothing. He found names, people whose entire careers he'd ended with a signature. Some had recovered, started new ventures, moved on. Others hadn't. One man had lost his house. Another had filed for bankruptcy. A woman in Ohio had written letters to Vale Industries begging for severance. The letters had been filed and ignored. Ethan read until his eyes burned and his hands shook. This was his legacy. Not innovation, not success, destruction. By Friday morning, he had a plan. Risky, expensive, maybe impossible, but necessary. He called Marcus. Set up a board meeting, full board, Monday morning. What's this about? You'll see. He spent the weekend with Emma, trying to be present. They went to the park, got lunch, played games in his apartment. Are you okay, Daddy? She asked Sunday night before bed. Working on it, sweetheart. Did you talk to Mara? Not yet. You should. I will. I promise. After she fell asleep, he stood in her doorway again, watching her breathe. She deserved better than him. Better than a father who was barely present. Better than someone who'd built his fortune on other people's pain. But maybe he could become better. For her. For Mara. For himself. Monday morning, the boardroom was packed. Every member present. Marcus looked confused. The others looked annoyed. This better be important, someone muttered. Ethan stood at the head of the table. No notes. Just truth. I've spent the last week reviewing every acquisition Vale Industries has made since I took over. And I've come to a conclusion. He pulled up a document on the screen. Names, companies, damages. We destroyed these people, not competed with them. Destroyed them. Took their livelihoods and threw them away like they didn't matter. That's business, Marcus started. No, that's cruelty disguised as business, and I'm done with it. He clicked to the next slide. A proposal. I'm creating a reparations fund, $50 million to start. We're going to track down everyone we hurt and make it right. Buy back companies where possible, provide compensation where it's not, offer jobs, training, whatever it takes. The room erupted. That's insane. We'll be sued. This sets a dangerous precedent. Ethan let them yell. When they finally quieted, he continued. I know this sounds crazy. Maybe it is. But I'm tired of winning at other people's expense. I'm tired of being the villain in someone else's story. So we're changing, starting now. The shareholders will never approve this, Marcus said. I have controlling interest. I don't need approval. Ethan, please think about this. I have. For days, this is happening. Then you're going to destroy this company. No, I'm going to save it. Save what it could be instead of what it's become. He looked around the table. Anyone who can't support this direction is welcome to resign. I'll write generous severance checks. But this is the new Vale Industries. Take it or leave it. Silence. Then slowly, one board member nodded, then another. Marcus just looked at him like he'd lost his mind. Maybe he had. After the meeting, Ethan went straight to his office and started making calls. First on the list, tracking down everyone from Mitchell Solutions. Most of the employees had moved on. New jobs, new lives. He sent compensation anyway. Not much, but something. The harder part was finding information about Robert Mitchell Ellis, Mara's father. He'd died 6 months ago. No estate to speak of. Medical bills that had consumed everything. But he'd had a wife, Mara's mother. It took Ethan 3 days to find her. She lived in a small apartment in Queens, worked as a home health aide. He showed up unannounced. Probably a mistake. When she opened the door, he saw Mara's eyes looking back at him. Same shape, same sadness. Mrs. Ellis? Yes? My name is Ethan Vale. I need to talk to you about your husband. Her face went hard. I know who you are. Can I come in? Why would I let you in my home? Fair question. Because I want to apologize and because I want to try to make things right. She studied him. You're the one dating my daughter. I was. I don't know what we are now. She called me, told me everything. Mrs. Ellis crossed her arms. You have a lot of nerve showing up here. I know, but I needed to tell you in person. What my company did to your husband was wrong. I was wrong, and I can't undo it, but I want to try to make amends. Amends. She said it like a curse word. You think money fixes what you did? No, but it's all I have to offer. My husband spent 12 years trying to rebuild what you took. 12 years of failure and shame and slowly giving up. And when the cancer came, he welcomed it. You know why? Because he was so tired of fighting, so tired of feeling worthless. The words hit like punches. I can't bring him back, Ethan said quietly, but I can try to honor his memory. I'm creating a fund to help people my company hurt, and I'd like to name it after him. The Robert Ellis Opportunity Fund for small business owners who need a second chance. Mrs. Ellis's eyes filled with tears. You think that makes it okay? No, nothing makes it okay, but maybe it makes it less awful. She was quiet for a long time. Then she stepped aside. 5 minutes. He came in. The apartment was small but clean, photos everywhere. Mara as a kid. Daniel, a man who must have been Robert. That's him, Mrs. Ellis said, following his gaze. Before you destroyed him. Ethan looked at the photo. Robert Ellis had kind eyes, a genuine smile. He looked like someone who loved his work. Tell me about him, Ethan said. Why? Because I need to understand what I took. So she did. For more than 5 minutes, closer to an hour, she told him about Robert's business, how he'd started it from nothing, how he'd employed 30 people, how he'd been fair and honest and proud of what he'd built. When your company came in, he tried to fight, hired a lawyer, couldn't afford a good one, lost everything in 6 months. I'm sorry. He was a good man, a great father, and you broke him. I know. Do you? Do you really know what it's like to watch someone you love fade away, to see them stop caring whether they live or die? Ethan thought about his own father. Different circumstances, same result. Yeah, he said. I do. Something shifted in her expression. I'm not asking for forgiveness, Ethan continued. I don't deserve it, but I'm asking for a chance to do better, to help people the way I should have from the beginning. Mrs. Ellis wiped her eyes. Mara loves you. I love her too. Then why are you here instead of with her? Because she won't talk to me, and because I needed to face what I did before I could ask her to forgive it. Smart boy. Is there anything I can do? For you? For your family? She was quiet. Then, my husband had a dream. Before everything fell apart, he wanted to start a scholarship for kids interested in business, give them the education he never had. I'll fund it, whatever you need. I don't want your money. It's not for me. It's for him, for his legacy. She looked at the photo of her husband. He would have liked that. Ethan pulled out a business card. My personal number. Call me when you're ready to talk details. She took it. You hurt my daughter. I know. If you want her back, you need to prove you've changed. Not with money, with who you are. I'm trying. Try harder. Same words the community center director had said. Ethan left feeling heavier and lighter at the same time. He spent the next week implementing the reparations fund, hired a team to track down everyone Vail Industries had damaged, started writing checks. Some people accepted gratefully. Others told him where to shove his money. He didn't blame them. He also started changing how Vail Industries operated. New guidelines for acquisitions, ethics reviews, impact assessments. Marcus fought him on everything. You're handicapping us, he argued. Our competitors don't care about this stuff. They'll eat us alive. Let them try. Ethan, I've been with you for 10 years, but I can't support this direction. Then resign. Marcus stared at him. You're serious? Completely. What happened to you? I woke up. Marcus left the next day. 3 other executives followed. Ethan replaced them with people who believed in the new mission. Younger, hungrier, more idealistic. The transition was messy, painful, necessary. Through it all, he thought about Mara. He'd left her alone like she asked. No calls, no texts, just space. But he needed to see her, even if she still hated him. He went back to the community center. She was there, teaching a class, moving between students, offering encouragement, being exactly who she was. He watched from the doorway. She looked tired, thinner than before, but still beautiful. She saw him, froze. For a moment, neither moved. Then she said something to her students and walked over. What are you doing here? I needed to see you. I asked for space. I know, and I've given you 3 weeks, but I can't stay away anymore. She crossed her arms. So talk. Not the warm welcome he'd hoped for, but better than nothing. I've been working on something, a reparations fund for everyone Vail Industries hurt, including your father. Her jaw tightened. You think money fixes this? No. But it's a start. For who? Me? Your conscience? For the people we hurt, for their families, for a future where I stop being the reason someone's life falls apart. She looked at him. Really looked. Why now? Why not years ago? Because I was blind, selfish, focused on winning instead of what winning cost. And then I met you and you showed me what actually matters. Don't put that on me. I'm not. I'm putting it on myself. You didn't change me, Mara. You just made me want to change. Tears welled in her eyes. I don't know if I can forgive you. I'm not asking you to. Not yet. I'm just asking you to let me prove I'm different. How? However long it takes. She wiped her eyes. I need more time. Okay. I mean it, Ethan. I can't just flip a switch and forget what you did. I know. My father died because of you. The words were knives. I know, he said again, and I'll carry that for the rest of my life. But I'm trying to make sure no one else's father dies because of me. She was crying openly now. Why do you have to make this so hard? What? Hating you. You're supposed to be the villain, but you're not. You're just... She shook her head. You're just a person who made terrible choices, and now you're trying to fix them, and I don't know what to do with that. Ethan stepped closer. What do you want to do with it? I want to forgive you, but I'm scared. Of what? That you'll go back, that this is temporary, that you'll wake up one day and remember you're a billionaire and I'm nobody, and you'll leave. You're not nobody. You're everything. Don't say things like that. Why not? It's true. She looked at him with those brown eyes that had haunted him for weeks. I can't do this here, she said. Not with my students watching. Then where? I don't know. Somewhere we can actually talk. They ended up at the Brooklyn waterfront. Same place they'd walked before everything fell apart. The sun was setting, painting the sky in colors that looked like one of Mara's paintings. They walked in silence for a while, then sat on a bench facing the water. Tell me about the fund, Mara said finally. So he did. Every detail. The tracking, the compensation, the Robert Ellis Opportunity Fund. I met your mother, he added. Mara's head whipped toward him. What? Last week. I went to her apartment, told her what I was doing, asked about your father. You had no right. I know. But I needed to face her, face what I did. What did she say? That your father was a good man, that I broke him, that if I want you back, I need to prove I've changed. She's right. I know. Mara looked out at the water. My dad used to bring me here when I was a kid. We'd watch the boats, and he'd tell me about all the places they were going, make up stories about the people on them. He sounds like he was a great father. He was. Until your company destroyed him. Then he was just gone. Physically there, but emotionally absent. I watched him disappear piece by piece. I'm sorry. I know you are. But sorry doesn't bring him back. No, it doesn't. They sat in silence. Not comfortable, but not hostile either. I'm moving back to my place, Mara said eventually. Daniel's doing better, doesn't need me hovering. That's good. Yeah. More silence. Can I ask you something? Ethan said. Sure. Do you think there's a chance for us? Any chance at all? Mara turned to look at him. Her eyes were red from crying but clear. I don't know, she said honestly. I love you. That hasn't changed, but love isn't always enough. What else do you need? Time, trust, proof that you're really different and not just performing for me. How do I prove that? I guess we'll find out. It wasn't a yes, but it wasn't a no either. Ethan took what he could get. If you or someone you know is having a difficult time, free support is available. Find resources. They started slow. Coffee once a week. Always in Brooklyn. Always on her terms. Ethan didn't push. Didn't ask for more than she was willing to give. Just showed up when she said to and tried not to hope too hard. The first few meetings were stiff. Polite conversation that felt rehearsed. Weather, work, surface things that didn't touch the wound between them. But gradually, something shifted. 3 weeks in, Mara laughed at something he said. A real laugh, not the careful kind. It only lasted a second before she caught herself, but Ethan heard it, held on to it like proof. Tell me about the fund, she said one afternoon. They were walking through Prospect Park, leaves crunching under their feet. How's it actually working? Messier than I expected. Some people don't want the money. Think it's guilt disguised as generosity. Is it? Partly. But it's also just the right thing to do. She glanced at him. When did you start caring about the right thing? When I realized doing the wrong thing was killing me. They walked in silence for a minute. We found 18 people from your dad's company, Ethan continued. Most moved on, got new jobs, but 3 never recovered, lost everything. One guy's been working security for minimum wage the last decade, used to be head of operations. And you're helping them? Trying to. Offered him a position at Vail. He told me to go to hell. Can't blame him. I don't, but I'll keep trying. Mara stopped walking, looked at him straight on. Why does this matter so much to you? Because you matter. Because Emma matters. Because I want to be someone they can be proud of instead of someone they have to explain. Her eyes softened, just barely. That's a good answer. It's the truth. They kept walking. And for the first time since everything broke, Ethan felt like maybe they could survive this. Work consumed him in ways it never had before. Not the deals or the profits, the actual impact. The reparations fund grew. Ethan funneled more money into it every week. By October, they'd compensated 47 families, created job opportunities for 32 people, started 3 new scholarship programs. The board hated it. Shareholders grumbled. Stock price dipped. Ethan didn't care. You're destroying shareholder value, his new CFO warned during a meeting. I'm creating human value. The shareholders will adjust. That's not how capitalism works. Then maybe capitalism needs to work differently. He knew he sounded naive, idealistic, like someone who'd just discovered poverty existed, but he'd spent 20 years being cynical. Maybe naive was exactly what he needed. The foundation work intensified too. Mara had kept her role despite everything. She'd thought about quitting, she told him. Didn't want people thinking she was there because of him. Stay because the work matters, Ethan had said. Not because of me or despite me, just because it's important. So she stayed. They rebuilt the programs from the ground up. More community partnerships, more direct support, less bureaucracy. We need to go where the kids are, Mara argued during a planning session. Not make them come to us. Mobile art labs, supplies delivered to schools, teachers embedded in communities. That'll cost millions, someone said. Then we spend millions, Ethan replied. They launched the first mobile lab in November. A renovated bus filled with art supplies. It traveled to neighborhoods where kids had never held a real paintbrush. Ethan went to the first stop, watched kids pile on, eyes wide, touching everything like it might disappear. One girl, maybe 10, grabbed his sleeve. Is this real? We can really use all this? It's real. It's yours. She hugged a set of markers like they were treasure. That night he called Mara. They'd started talking on the phone again, careful conversations that felt like learning each other over. You should have seen them, he said. These kids. They lit up. I wish I could have been there. Come to the next one. Maybe. Silence. The comfortable kind. How's Daniel? Ethan asked. Good. 90 days sober as of yesterday. Got a job at a coffee shop. Nothing fancy, but it's honest work. That's huge. Yeah. Her voice went soft. Thank you for that. For giving him a chance when no one else would. You don't have to thank me. I do, because it mattered. He matters. So do you. More silence. Then Mara said, I'm scared, Ethan. Of what? That I'm starting to forgive you. And I don't know if I should. His chest tightened. Why not? Because what if you go back? What if this version of you is temporary and the old one comes back? I won't. You can't promise that. People change. Then they change back. She wasn't wrong. He'd seen it happen. People who swore they were different, only to fall into old patterns when the pressure hit. I can't promise I won't mess up, he said, but I can promise I'll keep trying, every day, to be better than I was. That's a nice thing to say. It's not a thing to say. It's a thing I'm doing. She was quiet. Then, I know. I see it. And? And I'm still scared, but maybe less than before. Progress. He'd take it. Thanksgiving came. Ethan spent it with Emma and his sister Sophie. Amanda joined too, which was weird but not bad. They'd reached a place where they could be friendly for their daughter's sake. You seem different, Amanda said while Emma was in the other room. Lighter. I'm trying to be better. Because of her, Mara? Because of me. She just made me realize I wanted to. Amanda smiled. Good. You needed that. Needed what? Someone who made you want to change instead of someone who begged you to. Fair point. Emma came running in. Daddy, can Mara come for Christmas? Ethan glanced at Amanda, who shrugged. I don't know, sweetheart. I'd have to ask her. Ask her now. It's not that simple. Please. How do you say no to that face? He texted Mara later. Emma wants you at Christmas. No pressure. Just wanted you to know you're invited. She replied an hour later. That's sweet. Can I think about it? Of course. December arrived with the kind of cold that made New York feel like punishment. Ethan threw himself into work and foundation projects and anything that kept him moving. The mobile art lab expanded to 3 buses. The reparations fund hit 100 families. The Robert Ellis Opportunity Fund awarded its first grant to a woman in Philadelphia trying to rebuild after Vail Industries destroyed her bakery chain. Ethan flew there to meet her, watched her cry when she saw the check. I can actually start over, she whispered. You deserve it. I thought you people didn't care. Just took and moved on. We didn't. But we're trying to now. On the flight back, Ethan thought about all the other people out there he'd never meet. Lives he'd touched without knowing. Damage he'd caused without seeing. You couldn't fix everything, but maybe you could fix enough to matter. His phone rang. Mara. Hey. I'll come to Christmas, she said, if the offer's still open. It is. Always. Okay. But Ethan? Yeah? This doesn't mean everything's fixed between us. I know. I'm still working through it. I know that too. I just don't want you to think, Mara, I'm just happy you're coming. He heard her exhale. Me too. Christmas Eve, Ethan cleaned his apartment like his life depended on it. Emma helped, mostly by making more mess while trying to decorate. Is Mara your girlfriend again? She asked, hanging a crooked ornament. I don't know what we are. But you want her to be? Yeah. Then tell her. It's complicated, Em. Grown-ups always say that when they're scared. Out of the mouths of 6-year-olds. Mara arrived at 6. She brought wine and looked nervous. Emma launched herself at her before anyone could say hello. You came! I did. Mara hugged her back. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Come see the tree. Daddy let me pick all the ornaments, and some are kind of ugly, but I like them anyway. She dragged Mara away before Ethan could get a word in. Sophie appeared beside him. She's pretty. I know. Emma loves her. I know that too. Do you love her? He looked at his sister. Yeah. Does she know? I told her once, before everything fell apart. Maybe tell her again. Dinner was chaotic in the best way. Emma talked nonstop. Sophie told embarrassing stories about Ethan as a kid. Amanda showed up late but happy. Mara fit into it all like she'd always been there. After Emma went to bed, the adults sat in the living room with drinks and the kind of tired that came from good days. I should go, Mara said eventually. Stay, Ethan said, then caught himself. I mean, if you want, no pressure. Amanda and Sophie exchanged looks. We're leaving, Sophie announced. Amanda, come on. But I just... Now. They left before Ethan could protest. Suddenly it was just him and Mara in a room that felt too quiet. Subtle, Mara said. They mean well. I know. She stood, started gathering her coat. Mara, wait. She turned. I need to say something, Ethan started, and I need you to just let me say it without interrupting. She nodded. I love you. I know I said it before, but I need you to hear it again. I love you. Not because you're fixing me or saving me or whatever, but because you're you. Because you see people, really see them. Because you care about things that matter. Because you make me want to be better, not by demanding it, but by existing. He took a breath. I know I hurt you. I know what my company did is unforgivable. I know I can't undo any of it, but I'm trying to make sure I never do it again, to anyone. And I'm asking, not for you to forget, not even for you to forgive, just for a chance to keep proving I'm different. Mara's eyes were wet. You done? She asked. Yeah. She walked over, stood close enough that he could see the gold flecks in her brown eyes. I love you too, she whispered. I hate that I do. I hate that it's complicated and messy and maybe impossible. But I do. Is there a but coming? No, not tonight. She kissed him. Soft at first, then deeper, like she'd been holding back for months and finally couldn't anymore. When they broke apart, Ethan rested his forehead against hers. Does this mean we're trying again? I think it means we never stopped. They spent the night on his couch, talking. Not talking, just being together in a way they hadn't been since everything broke. Around 2 a.m, Mara fell asleep against his shoulder. Ethan stayed awake, watching her breathe, terrified to move and break the moment. This was what he'd been missing, not the empire, not the success. This. Morning came too soon. Emma woke them by jumping on the couch. Christmas, presents, wake up! Mara laughed, groggy. I'm up. They opened presents. Emma got spoiled, as expected, but her favorite gift was from Mara, a set of real art supplies. Professional grade. So you can make your own masterpieces, Mara told her. Emma hugged her so hard they both almost fell over. Later, while Emma was distracted with her new tablet, Mara pulled Ethan aside. I have something to tell you. Her tone made him nervous. Okay. I've been thinking about the foundation, about everything we're building. And? I want to expand it, not just art programs, full education support, mentorship, college prep, everything kids need to actually make it. That's a great idea. It'll cost more money, a lot more. I have money, she smiled. I know. But this feels bigger than just your money. We should fundraise, build partnerships, make it sustainable beyond you. You've been thinking about this. For weeks. I want to build something that lasts, that actually changes things. Ethan pulled her close. Then let's do it. They spent the rest of the holiday planning, Dreams poured out of Mara like she'd been holding them back for years. Centers in every borough, programs in schools that needed them most, teachers trained specifically for at-risk kids. "We could change thousands of lives," she said, eyes bright. "We will." January hit like a reset. New year, new plans, new version of them. They worked together every day, planning the foundation expansion, tracking reparations fund progress, building something that felt like it mattered. The chemistry between them was back, stronger than before. They'd fight about program details, then end up kissing in his office like teenagers. "This is unprofessional," Mara said once, breathless. "Completely," Ethan agreed, kissing her again. But it wasn't just physical. They talked about everything. His fears about being a good father, her fears about whether she was enough. Dreams, regrets, the messy middle parts that most people hid. "I want this to work," Mara said one night. They were at her apartment, tangled together on her couch. "Us. Not just the foundation. Us." "Me too. But I'm still scared sometimes that you'll wake up and realize I don't fit your world." "You don't fit my world. You fit my life. There's a difference." She smiled against his chest. "That's a good line. It's the truth." Things felt almost normal, almost perfect. Then February came. Daniel relapsed. Mara called Ethan at 2 a.m, voice shaking. "He's in the hospital, overdose. They don't know if he's going to make it." Ethan was dressed and out the door in 3 minutes. He found her in the waiting room, arms wrapped around herself, rocking slightly. "Hey," he sat beside her. "Any news?" "They're working on him, that's all they'll tell me." "He's going to be okay." "You don't know that." She was right. He didn't. They sat in silence, waiting. The hospital smell, antiseptic, and fear made everything feel worse. Around 4, a doctor came out. "He's stable. We got to him in time." Mara collapsed in relief. Ethan caught her. "Can I see him?" she asked. "Soon, he's sleeping. We'll let you know when he wakes up." After the doctor left, Mara turned to Ethan. "I can't keep doing this. Watching him almost die. Hoping he makes it. I can't. I know. He needs long-term care. Real treatment. Not just 90 days, something sustained. Then we'll find it." "Ethan, that kind of care costs. I don't care what it costs. We'll figure it out." She looked at him with so much pain in her eyes. "Why do you keep helping us? My family. We're not your responsibility." "Yes, you are." "Why?" "Because I love you. Because Daniel matters to you, so he matters to me. Because this is what you do for people you care about." She started crying, the exhausted kind that came from too much stress and too little sleep. Ethan held her while she broke down in that fluorescent-lit waiting room, and he made a silent promise that he'd do whatever it took to help her brother get better. Whatever it took. They found a facility in Connecticut. Long-term residential care, therapy, structure. It cost more than most people made in a year. Ethan paid without blinking. Daniel went willingly this time, scared but determined. "I'm sorry," he told Mara before he left, "for putting you through this again. Just get better, that's all I need." After Daniel was settled, Mara threw herself into work with an intensity that worried Ethan. "You need to rest," he said one night. She was in her office at 10 p.m., still planning programs. "I'm fine." "You're running yourself into the ground." "I said I'm fine." She wasn't, but he didn't push. A week later, everything came apart in a way he didn't see coming. They were in a meeting with potential donors, rich people who wanted to feel good about themselves by writing checks. Ethan had learned to play the game. One man, someone from Ethan's past business circles, made a comment. "This foundation work is great, Ethan, really noble. But when are you getting back to real business?" "This is real business." The man laughed. "You know what I mean. Deals, acquisitions, building the empire." "The empire's built. Now I'm trying to make sure it means something." "That's cute. But you can't run a company on feelings. Eventually you'll remember that profit matters more than purpose." Mara stood abruptly. "Excuse me." She left the room. Ethan found her in the hallway, pacing. "You okay? Is that what people think? That this is some phase you're going through?" "I don't care what they think." "But he's right, isn't he? Eventually the business side will win. You'll have to choose between profit and purpose. and I know which one wins. That's not, it is. I've seen it happen. My dad chose purpose and lost everything. You're a billionaire because you chose profit. That doesn't just change. I have changed. For now. But what about next year, 5 years from now? When this gets hard and expensive and the board is pushing back and you're tired of fighting? I won't stop fighting. You say that now. Mara, what is this really about? She stopped pacing, looked at him. I found something in the old acquisition files. His stomach dropped. What? A memo from 12 years ago about Mitchell Solutions. Your team recommended keeping the company intact, maintaining the staff. It would have been profitable. Not as profitable as gutting it, but still good. I don't remember. You overruled them, pushed for full liquidation. Your signature is on the memo, Ethan. You chose to destroy my father's company when you didn't have to. The words hit like bullets. I was 20 years old. You were old enough to know better. I was young and stupid and desperate to prove myself, and my father paid for it. My whole family paid for it. She was crying now, angry tears. I wanted to believe you'd changed, that you were different. But you made that choice knowing it would hurt people. You weren't some clueless kid. You knew. Mara, please. I can't do this. I thought I could. I thought love was enough. But every time I look at you, I see that memo. I see my father's face when he came home and told us he'd lost everything. I see my family falling apart. What are you saying? I'm saying I don't know if I can be with someone who did that. Even if you've changed, even if you're different now, the past is still there. Ethan felt the ground disappearing beneath him. So what? We just give up? I don't know. I need time. Real time, not coffee dates where we pretend everything's fine. How much time? I don't know. She walked away. He didn't follow, because what could he say? She was right. He had made that choice, young and arrogant and hungry for success. He'd destroyed her father's company not because he had to, but because it was more profitable. That person still existed inside him, no matter how much he tried to bury it. That night, Ethan sat in his study staring at the memo, his signature at the bottom, young and eager and lethal. He'd spent months trying to make amends, throwing money at the problem, building programs, being better. But you couldn't undo the past. You could only live with it. The question was whether Mara could live with it too. His phone rang, Emma calling from Amanda's. Hi, sweetheart. Daddy, you sound sad. I'm okay. Is it about Mara? Kids were too perceptive. Yeah. Did you fight? Sort of. Are you going to fix it? I'm trying. You have to try really hard, because Mara's good and you're good, and good people should be together. If only it were that simple. I love you, Em. Love you too, Daddy. Fix it, okay? Okay. But he didn't know if he could. The next 2 weeks were hell. Mara stopped answering his calls, stopped showing up to foundation meetings. The staff didn't know what to do. She quitting? Someone asked. I don't know. Ethan kept working. The reparations fund, the scholarships, the mobile art labs, all of it continued because it mattered beyond them, but it felt hollow without her. He threw himself into Daniel's care, visited him at the facility, made sure he had everything he needed. Where's Mara? Daniel asked one visit. She needed space. From me? From me? Daniel studied him. She showed me the memo. Of course she had. I'm sorry, Ethan said, for what I did to your family. I know. I can see you are. But sorry doesn't fix it, does it? No. My dad used to say people show you who they are through their choices, not their words, their choices. He was right. So the question is, what choices are you making now? Ethan thought about that all the way home. His choices now were different, better. But did they outweigh the old ones? He called Mrs. Ellis, Mara's mother. I need advice. About my daughter. Yeah. She sighed. What happened? He told her. Everything. The memo. The fight. Mara walking away. When he finished, Mrs. Ellis was quiet for a long time. You want to know if she'll forgive you, she said finally. I want to know if I deserve forgiveness. That's the wrong question. What's the right one? Whether you're willing to earn it, Every day, for the rest of your life. Not because you want her back, but because it's right. I am. Then prove it. Not with money. Not with grand gestures. With the boring daily work of being better. How? You'll figure it out. But Ethan? Yeah? My daughter is strong, stronger than she knows. She's survived worse than this, so don't make the mistake of thinking she needs you. She doesn't, but she might want you, if you prove you're worth wanting. She hung up. Ethan sat with those words for a long time. Then he made a decision. He called an emergency board meeting. I'm stepping down as CEO, he announced. The room erupted. What? You can't? Are you insane? He waited for them to quiet. I'm staying on as chairman, but I'm hiring someone else to run day-to-day operations. Someone who believes in the new direction but knows how to balance it with business realities. Why? Someone asked. Because I'm not the right person to run this company anymore. I built it on aggression and ruthlessness. We need someone who can build it on purpose without destroying what works. This is about the girl. This is about being honest. I'm better at vision than execution now, so let me focus on that. It took 3 hours of arguing, but eventually they agreed. By March, Ethan had a new CEO in place, a woman who'd built 2 successful ethical companies and believed in profit with purpose. He shifted his focus entirely to the foundation, not because of Mara, because it was where he belonged. The work grew, more programs, more cities, more lives changed, and slowly, without him noticing, Ethan started to feel something he hadn't felt in years. Peace. Not happiness, not yet, but peace. Like maybe he was finally becoming someone he could respect. He still missed Mara, every day, every hour, but he didn't chase her, didn't beg, just kept doing the work and hoped that someday she'd see that he meant it. On a cold evening in late March, his phone buzzed, a text from Mara. Can we talk? His heart stopped. Yes. When? Tomorrow. Brooklyn Bridge Park, our bench, 7 p.m. I'll be there? He barely slept that night. Ethan arrived at the park 30 minutes early, sat on their bench watching joggers pass, and tried not to throw up from nerves. He'd rehearsed what to say, discarded it, rehearsed again. Nothing sounded right. At 7:03, Mara appeared. She looked thinner, tired, but still beautiful in that way that made his chest hurt. Hi, she said. Hi. She sat down. Not close, a careful distance between them. For a minute, neither spoke, just watched the Manhattan skyline catch the last of the daylight. I'm sorry, Mara said finally, for disappearing like that. You needed space. I get it. I needed to figure out if I could do this, be with you, knowing what I know. Ethan's hands were shaking. He shoved them in his pockets. And? He asked, even though he was terrified of the answer. I talked to my mom, about my dad, about you, about everything. What did she say? That holding on to anger was easier than letting it go, that my father would have hated seeing me stuck in the past. Mara looked at him. She also said you came to see her, multiple times. Yeah. Why? Because I needed to understand what I took from your family, not just read it in a file. Actually understand. And do you? Understand? Ethan thought about those conversations with Mrs. Ellis, the photos she'd shown him, the stories about Robert, the way her voice broke when she talked about watching him fade. I understand I destroyed a good man's life. I understand your father wasn't a line item or a contract. He was someone who mattered, who had a family that loved him. And I took away his ability to provide for that family, to feel like he had value. His voice cracked. I understand that when he killed himself, part of that was my fault. Not cancer, not bad luck. Me. My choices. Mara's eyes filled with tears. I spent 2 months hating you, she whispered. Really hating you. Waking up angry, going to bed angry, trying to convince myself you were just another rich asshole who didn't care about collateral damage. I was that person. Let me finish. She took a shaky breath. But then Daniel told me you'd been visiting him every week, not making a big deal about it, just showing up, talking to him, making sure he was okay. He's important to you. And my mom told me about the scholarship fund you created, the Robert Ellis Opportunity Fund, how you're giving people second chances the way my dad never got. It's the least I could do. And I heard about you stepping down as CEO, restructuring the whole company, fighting the board when they pushed back. She turned to face him fully. So I realized something. You can't undo what you did. Nothing will bring my father back or give him those 12 years he lost. But you're trying to make sure no one else's father loses everything because some kid in a boardroom decides profit matters more than people. I'm trying. I see that, finally. I really see it. Hope flickered in Ethan's chest. Dangerous hope. Does that mean you forgive me? Mara was quiet for a long time. I don't know if forgiveness is the right word. I'm not there yet. Maybe I never will be. But I think I'm at acceptance. Acceptance? That you were someone who did terrible things, and now you're someone trying to do better. And maybe those are both true. Maybe you're both people at once. I can live with that. Can you? Because it means I'm going to have hard days. Days where I look at you and all I see is that memo. Days where I can't separate past you from present you. Days where I'm angry and it's not fair, but it's real. I'll take the hard days, Ethan said. All of them. As long as there are good days, too. There will be, I think. I hope. She wiped her eyes. I missed you. I missed you, too. Did you really step down from running Vale? Yeah, hired someone better suited for it. I'm focusing on the foundation full-time now. That's a big change. Felt right. I was never good at the day-to-day business stuff, too impatient, too impulsive. But the foundation work? That feels like what I should have been doing all along. Mara smiled, small but genuine. My dad would have liked that. The irony of it, you taking his company and using the money to help people like him. You think? Yeah. He believed in second chances. Even when the world didn't give him one. They sat in silence, the good kind this time. So where does this leave us? Ethan asked. I don't know. Can we start over? Not like nothing happened, but like we know what happened and we're choosing to try anyway? I'd like that. She reached for his hand. He took it. Her fingers were cold. I have conditions, she said. Okay. No more secrets. If there's other stuff in your past that could blow up between us, I need to know now. Not 6 months from now when I'm in too deep. Fair. There's nothing else like that. Some questionable business deals, companies I probably shouldn't have acquired, but nothing involving your family or anyone you know. And if something comes up, someone from your past who got hurt, I tell you immediately. Promise? Promise. Second condition. We go slow. I know we've already done the fast version, but I need slow now. I need to rebuild trust piece by piece. Whatever you need. Third condition. You keep doing the work, the foundation, the reparations fund, not because it wins me back, but because it's right. I will. I am. She squeezed his hand. Okay. Okay? Okay, let's try this, for real this time. Ethan pulled her close. She let him, rested her head on his shoulder while the city lights started flickering on across the water. I love you, he said. I know I keep saying it, but I need you to know. I love you too, even when I didn't want to, even when I tried not to. That's enough. They stayed there until it got too cold to sit still. Then they walked through Brooklyn holding hands like they were learning each other all over again. At her door, Mara hesitated. Do you want to come up? Do you want me to? Yeah, but just to talk. I'm not ready for more yet. Talking's good. I like talking to you. Her apartment looked the same, canvases everywhere, paint-stained floors, the smell of turpentine and coffee. She made tea. They sat on her floor like they used to. Tell me about the foundation, she said. Everything I missed. So he did. The expansion plans. New programs in 3 more cities. Partnership with schools. Mobile labs now operating in 8 neighborhoods. We found this kid in the Bronx, Ethan said. 12 years old. Drawing on notebook paper because he couldn't afford real supplies. Now he's in our mentorship program, working with a professional artist once a week. That's incredible. It's because of you, your vision. I'm just the checkbook. You're more than that. Am I? Yeah, you're the guy who cares, who shows up, who's willing to admit when he was wrong and actually try to fix it. That's rare, Ethan. Especially in your world. He didn't know what to say to that. They talked until midnight. About work. About Daniel's progress. About Emma, who'd been asking about Mara constantly. She misses you, Ethan said. I miss her too. Is it okay if I call her? She'd love that. Around 1, they both started yawning. I should go, Ethan said. You could stay on the couch if you want. You sure? Yeah, it's late, and I kind of don't want you to leave yet. So he stayed. She gave him a blanket and a pillow that smelled like paint. He lay there listening to her move around the apartment, brushing her teeth, turning off lights, the soft sound of her getting into bed in the next room. This was enough. Just being here, being allowed back into her space and her life. He fell asleep feeling something close to happy. Morning came with Mara shaking his shoulder. Wake up, I made coffee. He sat up, disoriented. What time is it? 7. I have a meeting at the community center at 8, but I wanted to have coffee with you first. They sat at her tiny kitchen table, knees touching, drinking bad coffee that tasted perfect. What are you doing today? She asked. Foundation stuff, then picking up Emma at 3. You want to come? To pick up Emma? Yeah, she'd be thrilled. Mara bit her lip. Are you sure? That's kind of a big step. We've already done big steps. This is just normal life. Normal life where you introduce me to your daughter like we're really together? Aren't we? She smiled. Yeah, I guess we are. So that afternoon, Ethan picked up Mara and they went to get Emma from school together. Emma saw them and screamed, literally screamed, and came running. Mara, you're back! I'm back, Mara laughed, catching her in a hug. Are you and Daddy together again? We're working on it. Does that mean you'll come to my ballet recital next week? Mara glanced at Ethan. He nodded. I'd love to, she told Emma. They got ice cream, went to the park. Emma talked nonstop about school and friends and the new hamster who was way more work than she'd expected. He poops so much, she said seriously, like all the time. Mara tried not to laugh. Failed. Watching them together, Ethan felt something settle in his chest. This was what he wanted. Not the empire, not the success. This. Family, connection. People who mattered. Later, after they dropped Emma at Amanda's, Mara turned to him. Your daughter is incredible. She is. And she really loves you. You know that, right? I'm working on being someone who deserves it. You already are. You're just figuring that out. She kissed him, quick and sweet. I should get home, work early tomorrow. Okay. When can I see you again? You're already seeing too much of me. Impossible, she smiled. Tomorrow night? Dinner? I'll cook. You cook? Badly, but I'll try. Even better. The next few weeks fell into a rhythm. Work during the day, dinner together most nights, weekends with Emma, who'd fully adopted Mara as part of their lives. It wasn't perfect. Some days were hard. Mara would get quiet and distant, lost in memories. Ethan would see the pain in her eyes and know she was thinking about her father. Talk to me, he'd say. Sometimes she would, sometimes she needed space. He learned to tell the difference. April brought new challenges. The foundation board wanted to scale back again. Budget concerns, sustainability questions. We can't keep operating at a loss, someone argued. We're not operating at a loss, Ethan countered. We're investing in futures that has value even if it doesn't show up on a spreadsheet. Poetic, but the numbers don't lie. Mara spoke up. What if we start generating revenue? Art sales from student work, fundraising events, grant applications. We don't have to be purely donation-based. That could work, someone admitted. They spent the next month building out the revenue plan. Student art auctions, gallery partnerships, corporate sponsorships from companies that actually cared about impact. It worked. By May, they were trending towards sustainability. You're brilliant, Ethan told Mara one night. I'm practical. There's a difference. Same thing in my book. She laughed. Your book must be very short. Things felt good, really good. Ethan started believing they might actually make it. Then Daniel called. I'm thinking about leaving the facility. Ethan's stomach dropped. Why? I've been here 4 months. I'm doing better. Thought maybe it was time to try the real world again. Does Mara know? Not yet. Wanted to talk to you first, see what you thought. Honest answer? Ethan thought it was too soon. Daniel was doing better, but he was still fragile. The real world had triggers everywhere. "What does your therapist say?" he asked. "That I should stay another 2 months, but I feel ready now." "Then stay 2 months. If you still feel ready after that, we'll figure out next steps together." Silence. Then, "You sound like my dad." "Is that good or bad?" "Good, I think. He was always the careful one, wanted me to think things through instead of acting on impulse." "Smart man." "Yeah, he was." After they hung up, Ethan sat with the weight of that conversation. Being a role model for Daniel felt important. It also felt terrifying. What if he gave the wrong advice? What if Daniel relapsed because of something Ethan said or didn't say? He called Mara. "Daniel wants to leave the facility." He heard her sharp intake of breath. "When?" "Now. I told him to wait 2 months, talk to his therapist, make sure he's actually ready." "Thank you for saying that, for being the rational one when I can't be." "You can be rational. Not when it comes to my brother. I either baby him or push him away. Nothing in between." "That's not true." "It is. But you're good at the middle ground, the measured response. It helps." They talked for an hour about Daniel, about recovery, about the fear that one wrong step could undo all the progress. "We can't control it," Ethan said finally. "We can support him and help him and be there. But his recovery is his." "I hate that." "I know. I want to fix it." "You can't. None of us can. We just have to trust he's strong enough to do it himself." She was quiet. Then, "When did you get so wise?" "I'm not wise. I'm just scared of losing you again. So I'm trying really hard not to mess up." "You're doing okay so far." "Just okay?" "Better than okay. But your ego's big enough already." He laughed. Actually laughed. When was the last time he'd done that without forcing it? "I love you," he said. "I love you too. Even though you're annoying. Especially because I'm annoying. Don't push it." By June, they'd fallen into something that felt like normal. Dinner together most nights, working side by side at the foundation. Weekend trips with Emma to museums and parks, and places that made her happy. One Saturday, they took Emma to Coney Island. She dragged them onto every ride, ate her weight in cotton candy, and threw up on the boardwalk after the cyclone. "I told you that last hot dog was a bad idea," Mara said, rubbing Emma's back while she recovered. "I'm okay," Emma insisted weakly. "You're green." "I'm fine." She threw up again. Ethan couldn't stop laughing. Not at Emma, at the absurdity of it all. 6 months ago, he'd been sitting in an empty penthouse wondering if he'd ever feel alive. Now he was on Coney Island holding his daughter's hair back, while the woman he loved tried not to laugh. This was living. That night, after Emma was in bed, Mara stayed over. They'd been taking things slow physically, rebuilding that part of their relationship with the same care as everything else. But something shifted that night. They were on his couch watching a movie neither was paying attention to, her head on his shoulder, his arm around her. "Ethan? Yeah?" "I'm ready." He knew what she meant. "You sure?" "Yeah, I've been sure for a while, just needed to get out of my own head." He kissed her, slow and careful. She kissed back. Not careful at all. They made it to his bedroom, and for the first time in months, everything felt right. Not perfect. Right. Like they'd finally found their way back to each other. After lying tangled together in the dark, Mara said, "I forgive you." Ethan went still. "What?" "I forgive you for what you did, for my father, all of it. I forgive you." His throat went tight. "You don't have to." "I'm not saying it because I have to. I'm saying it because I want to, because holding on to anger was killing me, and because you've proven you're not that person anymore." Tears burned behind his eyes. "Thank you. Don't thank me. Just keep being who you are now. Keep trying. Keep caring. That's all I need." He held her tighter. "I will. I promise." She fell asleep in his arms. Ethan stayed awake for a long time, feeling the weight of her forgiveness settle over him like a blanket. He'd spent months trying to earn it, prove he deserved it. And now that he had it, he understood something crucial. Forgiveness wasn't the end. It was the beginning. Now came the real work, living up to it every single day. July brought a heat wave that made the city feel like a furnace. Ethan and Mara spent most of it in his air-conditioned apartment planning the foundation's expansion. They'd secured funding to open a full arts education center. Not just mobile labs, an actual building where kids could come after school, take classes, work with mentors, dream bigger than their circumstances allowed. Where should we put it? Mara asked, studying a map of Brooklyn. Somewhere that needs it most. That's everywhere. Then we pick somewhere and build more as we can. They chose a neighborhood in Brownsville, high poverty, few resources, kids who deserved better than what they were getting. Finding a building took weeks, negotiating the lease took longer. But by August, they had a space, an old warehouse that needed serious work. But it had good bones, high ceilings, natural light, potential. We can make this beautiful, Mara said, walking through the empty space. We can make this matter, Ethan corrected. That too. They spent the next 2 months renovating. Ethan threw money at it. Mara threw her vision. Together, they created something neither could have done alone. Art studios, music rooms, a small theater for performances, computer labs, quiet spaces for homework help. When it was done, they stood in the main room and just stared. It's real, Mara whispered. It's real. We actually did this. We did. She turned to him, eyes shining. Thank you for believing in this. In me. I should be thanking you. You're the one who showed me what actually matters. We showed each other. The center opened in September. They called it the Ellis Center for Arts and Education, named for Mara's father. Her mother came to the opening, cried the whole time. Robert would have loved this, she told Ethan. I hope so. I know so. He always said the world needed more places where kids could discover who they were. This is that place. Daniel came too. 6 months sober, working as a barista and taking online classes. Fragile, but fighting. This is incredible, sis, he told Mara. We did it for Dad. He'd be proud of you. I'm proud of you. They hugged, both crying. Ethan gave them space. Emma was there, of course, running around the art studios, touching everything. Can I come here after school? She asked. Anytime you want, Mara told her, even if I'm bad at art. Especially then. That's when you need it most. That first week, they had 30 kids sign up. By October, they had a waiting list. The programs worked. Kids thrived. Parents got involved. The community started believing. One afternoon, a mother pulled Ethan aside. My son says this is the only place he feels like himself, like he matters. Thank you for that. Thank Mara. This was her vision. I'm thanking both of you. That night, Ethan found Mara in one of the art studios. A teenager was working on a massive canvas. Mara was watching, not directing, just present. You're good at this, Ethan said. At what? Being what these kids need. I'm just showing up. That's more than most people do. The teenager looked up. Miss Mara, is this guy your boyfriend? Mara smiled. Yeah, he is. He's old. Ethan laughed. Thanks, kid. But he seems cool for an old guy. I'll take it, Ethan said. Walking home that night, Mara slipped her hand into his. I'm happy, she said. Like, actually happy. Not just okay. Not just surviving. Happy. Me too. Even though your company tanked after you stepped down? The stock price had dropped 30%. Shareholders were furious. The business press called him irresponsible. I don't care about the stock price, Ethan said. I care about this. Us. The center. Things that actually matter. You've changed so much. You changed me. No, you changed you. I just gave you a reason to want to. They walked in comfortable silence, the city humming around them, alive and messy and beautiful. At her door, Ethan said, Move in with me. Mara stopped. What? Move in. My place is bigger. We're together all the time anyway, and I want to wake up with you every morning instead of just some mornings. That's a big step. I know, but I'm ready. Are you? She thought about it. Yeah, I think I am. Yeah? Yeah. Let's do it. They kissed on her stoop like teenagers. Neighbors walked past. Traffic kept moving. The world kept spinning. And for the first time in his life, Ethan felt like he was exactly where he was supposed to be. Mara moved in on a Saturday in October. She didn't have much. Clothes that fit in 3 suitcases. Books stacked in boxes. Her canvases, which took up more space than everything else combined. Where do you want these? the movers asked, gesturing to a painting of abstract blues and grays. Everywhere, Ethan said. I want her work everywhere. By evening, his sterile penthouse looked lived in. Paint-stained drop cloths in the spare bedroom she'd claimed as a studio, her coffee mugs in the kitchen, her presence in every corner. Emma came over for dinner and lost her mind with excitement. You live here now? Like, all the time? All the time, Mara confirmed. Does that mean you're going to marry my dad? Emma, Ethan warned. What? I'm just asking, Mara laughed. How about we start with living together and see how it goes? Fine, but I'm telling everyone at school you're basically my stepmom. I'm okay with that, Mara said softly. After Emma went to bed, they sat on the balcony overlooking the city. The skyline glittered like scattered diamonds. This is surreal, Mara said. 6 months ago, I couldn't look at you without wanting to scream. Now I'm living in your apartment and co-parenting your daughter. Having regrets? Not regrets, just disbelief that we actually made it here. Ethan pulled her closer. We almost didn't. But we did. That counts for something. Everything. November brought challenges neither expected. The Ellis Center was thriving, but success came with growing pains. More kids meant more staff. More programs meant higher costs. The sustainable revenue model they'd built was working, but barely. We need another major donor, Mara said one night, reviewing budgets at the kitchen table. Someone who believes in the mission enough to fund expansion. I can cover it. No, this can't all be on you. We need diverse funding or we're too vulnerable. She was right. Ethan had learned that lesson the hard way. They spent weeks reaching out to potential donors. Most said no. Too risky. Too focused on low-income communities. Not enough measurable outcomes. Measurable outcomes, Mara muttered after another rejection. Like you can measure a kid discovering they're good at something. Like you can put hope on a spreadsheet. We'll find someone, Ethan said. What if we don't? Then we figure it out. We always do. The breakthrough came from an unexpected place. Marcus, Ethan's former CFO, called. I heard about the Ellis Center. And? Ethan didn't bother hiding his surprise. They hadn't spoken since Marcus resigned, and I want to help fund it. Why? Because I was wrong. About you. About what matters. I've been watching what you're building, and it's impressive. Makes my portfolio management look pretty empty. You want to donate? I want to invest, not financially. Time, expertise, whatever you need. And yeah, money too. Ethan was speechless. You still there? Marcus asked. Yeah, I'm just trying to figure out the angle. No angle. I'm 45, and realizing I've spent 20 years making rich people richer. Thought maybe I could try making a difference instead. They met for coffee. Marcus laid out a proposal, a matching grant program. For every dollar the center raised, he'd match it up to $5 million. That's insane, Moshe, Mara said when Ethan told her. That's Marcus. When he commits, he goes all in. Is he trying to make up for being a jerk? Probably. But does it matter if the money helps kids? I guess not. The matching grant changed everything. Other donors started coming forward. Small amounts mostly, but they added up. By December, they'd raised enough to open a second location. Daniel graduated from the long-term facility right before Thanksgiving. Ethan and Mara picked him up together. He looked different, healthier. The hollowness in his eyes had filled in. He smiled when he saw them. 8 months clean, he announced. Mara hugged him hard. I'm so proud of you. Couldn't have done it without you guys, either of you. They took him to dinner, a small Italian place where the waiter didn't care who they were, and the food was actually good. What's next? Ethan asked. I got accepted to community college, start in January. Thinking about social work, helping other people get clean. That's perfect, Mara said. Yeah, figured I should use the experience for something other than scaring our mom. They laughed, real laughter that felt earned. I need to say something, Daniel continued, getting serious. To both of you. I know what happened with Dad. What your company did, Ethan. Mara told me everything. Ethan tensed. And I thought I'd hate you for it. Thought I'd resent Mara for being with you. But then I got clean and started actually thinking instead of just reacting. He looked at Ethan. You can't change what happened, but you're trying to make sure it doesn't happen to anyone else. That matters. Maybe more than people realize. Thank you, Ethan said quietly. I'm not saying it's all good, but I'm saying it's something, and something's better than nothing. After dinner, Daniel went to his new apartment, a small studio the foundation helped him secure. It wasn't much, but it was his. He's going to make it, Mara said on the drive home. You sound sure. I am. For the first time in years, I actually believe he's going to be okay. Christmas was chaos in the best way. Emma opened presents at lightning speed. Sophie and Amanda came over. Mrs. Ellis joined them, bringing enough food to feed 20 people. This is my first Christmas without him, she said quietly to Ethan, while everyone else was distracted. Robert, I wasn't sure I could do it. How are you managing? Better than expected. Having you and Mara together helps. Knowing something good came from all that pain, the center, the scholarships, Daniel getting clean. Robert would have liked that his name is attached to hope instead of failure. I wish I could have known him. He would have liked you. Eventually, after he stopped wanting to kill you, she smiled sadly. He was big on second chances. Would have appreciated what you're doing. That night, after everyone left, Ethan found Mara in her studio. She was painting, something new, colors he'd never seen her use before, bright yellows and oranges, light breaking through darkness. What is it? He asked. Not sure yet, but it feels different than my usual stuff. Different how? Hopeful, maybe. I've spent years painting sadness and anger, thought I'd try something else. He watched her work, the way her hands moved, the focus in her eyes, the peace on her face. I want to marry you, he said. The brush stopped mid-stroke. What? I want to marry you, not tomorrow, not next week, but someday. When you're ready. I want to marry you and spend the rest of my life proving I'm worth the risk you took on me. Mara set down the brush, turned to face him. That's a hell of a thing to say while I'm covered in paint. Should I have worn a suit, gone down on one knee? No, this is perfect. You're perfect. Well, not perfect, but perfect for me. Is that a yes? It's a someday. When we're both ready, when the timing's right. Ask me again and I'll probably say yes. Probably? Definitely. I'll definitely say yes. He kissed her. She kissed back, getting paint all over his shirt. Neither cared. January brought new challenges. Vail Industries, under new leadership, was struggling. Stock price kept dropping. Rumors of a hostile takeover circulated. Ethan's phone rang constantly. Board members, shareholders, everyone wanting him to step back in and fix it. You have to do something, one investor said. The company's falling apart without you. I'm not the CEO anymore. But you're still the major shareholder. You have influence. And I'm choosing not to use it. I hired someone I trust. Let her do her job. She's running the company into the ground. She's running it ethically. There's a difference. The market will adjust. But the calls kept coming. The pressure mounting. By February, Ethan was losing sleep. Talk to me, Mara said one night. They were in bed. He was staring at the ceiling. They want me to go back, save the company. Do you want to? Part of me does. The part that spent 20 years building it. That part wants to dive in and fix everything. And the other part knows I'd just fall back into old patterns. Profit over people. Winning at any cost. I can't be that person again. Then don't be. But what if the company fails because I walked away? Then it fails. And something else rises from it. But you don't go back to being someone you hate just to save a stock price. She was right. He knew she was right. The next morning, he called an emergency board meeting. I'm selling my shares, he announced. The room erupted. You can't. This is insane. Think about what you're doing. He waited for silence. I'm selling my controlling interest to the current CEO and her team at a discount. They believe in the ethical direction. They should own it. You'll lose billions. I'll still have billions, just fewer of them, and I'll sleep better. This is about the girl. Her name is Mara. And yes, she helped me realize what matters. But this is my choice. I'm tired of building empires. I want to build things that last. Marcus spoke up. I'll buy some of those shares. Back the new direction. Others followed. By the end of the meeting, Ethan had divested enough to no longer control the company. Walking out, he felt lighter than he had in years. That night, he told Mara what he'd done. You sold Vail? Most of it. Kept enough to stay comfortable, but I'm out of the driver's seat. How do you feel? Terrified. Relieved. Free. What will you do now? This. The foundation. The center. Us. Things that actually matter. She kissed him. I'm proud of you. For giving up billions? For choosing what makes you happy over what makes you rich. March brought spring and expansion. The Ellis Center opened 2 more locations, Brooklyn, Queens, Harlem next. Every opening felt like a celebration, kids pouring in, parents grateful, communities transforming. One afternoon at the Harlem location, a mother approached Ethan. My daughter's been coming here for 2 months. She's a different kid, smiling again, dreaming again. Thank you. Thank Mara. This is her vision. I'm thanking both of you. You could have spent your money on anything. You chose our kids. That matters. Stories like that kept coming. Teachers reporting better attendance. Parents seeing hope return. Kids discovering talents they didn't know they had. The foundation grew beyond arts education, tutoring programs, college prep, mental health resources, everything kids needed to thrive. Daniel started volunteering, leading groups for teens in recovery, sharing his story, giving back. It helps, he told Mara one day. Talking about it, helping others who are where I was. You're good at it. I had good examples. You, Ethan, people who didn't give up on me even when I gave up on myself. Emma turned 7 in April. They threw a party at the Ellis Center. 20 kids from her class came. They painted, made music, performed a terrible play Emma had written about a princess who saved herself. Did you see? Emma asked afterward. I was the princess and the hero. You were perfect, Mara told her. When are you going to marry my dad? I want to be a flower girl. Ethan choked on his drink. Soon, probably, Mara said, grinning at his expression. If he ever actually asks properly. I'm waiting for the right moment. There's no such thing as the right moment. There's just moments. You either take them or you don't. That night, after Emma was asleep at Amanda's and they were home alone, Ethan pulled out a ring he'd been carrying for weeks. I was going to plan something elaborate, he said. Take you somewhere fancy, make a big production. But you're right. There's no perfect moment. Just this one. Right here. You and me and everything we've built together. He got down on one knee. Mara Ellis, you saved my life. Not by fixing me or changing me, by showing me what life could be if I chose to live it differently. Will you marry me? She was crying. That was pretty elaborate for not planning anything. Is that a yes? Yes. Obviously yes. He slipped the ring on her finger. She pulled him up and kissed him hard enough to make them both dizzy. Emma's going to lose her mind, Mara said. She's been planning this wedding since we met. Smart kid. They got married in June. Small ceremony at the Ellis Center, close friends, family, the kids from the programs who absolutely refused to miss it. Emma was the flower girl. She took the job very seriously, practicing her walk for weeks. Daniel walked Mara down the aisle. She'd asked him to. He cried the entire way. Mrs. Ellis sat in the front row wearing a smile that looked like peace. Sophie and Amanda sat together, both tearing up. Marcus was there, looking uncomfortable in a suit. The ceremony was simple. They wrote their own vows. Ethan went first. I spent 20 years building an empire on other people's pain. You showed me how to build a life on purpose instead. I can't promise I won't mess up, but I promise I'll keep trying every day to be the man you deserve, the father Emma needs, the person I want to be. I love you. More than I knew it was possible to love someone. Mara's turn. You destroyed my family. That's a fact we can't change. But you also put it back together in ways I never expected. You gave my brother a second chance, my mother peace, me, a reason to believe in redemption. I love you not despite your past, but because of what you chose to do with it. You're not perfect, neither am I, but we're perfect together, and that's enough. They kissed while everyone cheered. The reception was chaos. Kids running everywhere, adults trying to keep up, music too loud, food too good. Emma gave a toast that was mostly her explaining why she'd always known they'd end up together. I told Daddy to marry her the first day I met her, she announced proudly, because she was nice and she made him smile, and now they're married and I'm basically always right. Everyone laughed. Later, dancing with Mara, Ethan looked around the room. At the center they'd built, the people they'd helped, the family they'd become. Happy? Mara asked. Completely. Even though you're not a billionaire CEO anymore? Especially because of that. She rested her head on his shoulder. We did good, didn't we? We did better than good. We did right. The months after the wedding blurred together in the best way. Work at the foundation, nights at home, weekends with Emma, building a life that felt full instead of empty. The Ellis Center expanded to 6 locations by September. Thousands of kids served, hundreds of success stories. One kid got a full scholarship to art school. Another started a gallery featuring work from the programs. A third became a teacher, coming back to help the next generation. This is what legacy looks like, Mara said one day, watching kids fill the studios. Your father's legacy. Ours, mine, yours, his, all of it together. Vail Industries stabilized under new leadership. The ethical approach worked, slower growth but sustainable. The stock price recovered. Ethan's reduced shares were still worth more than most people made in 10 lifetimes. But he barely paid attention to the numbers anymore. Daniel finished his first year of community college with a 3.88 GPA. Started working toward a degree in social work. I'm going to help people like me, he said. Kids who think they're too broken to fix. Show them they're not broken, just hurt. And hurt can heal. Emma thrived. 2nd grade, new friends, still drawing constantly. Still sure she'd be an artist when she grew up. Or a doctor, she said one night. Or maybe both. Can you be both? You can be anything you want, Mara told her. Even president? Especially president, though I'm not sure why you'd want that job. To help people, like you and Daddy. Ethan's chest tightened. This kid. This incredible, compassionate kid. You're already helping people, he said. Just by being you. In November, Mara got pregnant. She told him on a random Tuesday. They were making dinner. She just blurted it out. I'm pregnant. Ethan dropped the spatula. What? Pregnant. With a baby. Our baby. Are you serious? Would I joke about this? He kissed her, spun her around, nearly knocked over the stove. We're having a baby. We're having a baby, she confirmed. Emma was thrilled, started planning the nursery immediately. Can we paint it yellow, with clouds, and put art supplies in there so the baby can paint too? The baby's going to be tiny, Mara said. No painting for a while. But when they're ready, they'll need supplies. You're absolutely right. Mrs. Ellis cried when they told her. Happy tears. Robert would have loved this. A grandchild. New life from all that pain. Daniel bought baby books and read them cover to cover. I'm going to be the coolest uncle, he announced. The most prepared, at least, Mara said. The pregnancy was normal, no complications, just growing life and growing hope. They prepared the nursery together. Yellow walls like Emma wanted. Shelves for books. A mobile Mara made from painted paper. Think we're ready? Ethan asked one night, looking at the finished room. No one's ever ready, but we'll figure it out. Together. Always together. The baby came in July. A girl. They named her Grace. Grace Ellis Vail. She was tiny and perfect and completely terrifying. What if I mess this up? Ethan whispered in the hospital, holding her for the first time. You will, Mara said. We both will. But we'll mess it up together and love her through it, and that's what matters. Emma held her sister with the kind of gentle reverence reserved for precious things. Hi, Grace. I'm your big sister. I'm going to teach you everything. Watching them, Ethan felt something break open in his chest. Not painful. The opposite. Like his heart had been too small and finally expanded enough to hold everything. This was it. This was what he'd been missing. Not success, not money, not power, connection, love, purpose. The foundation kept growing. They hit 10 locations by the end of the year, served over 5,000 kids, trained hundreds of teachers, changed communities. The Robert Ellis Opportunity Fund helped 30 small businesses rebuild after being crushed by larger companies. Some succeeded, some failed, but all of them got a second chance. Ethan still woke up sometimes thinking about the people he'd hurt, the damage he'd caused, the years he'd wasted being someone he hated. But then he'd look at Mara sleeping beside him, at Grace in her crib, at the life they'd built from broken pieces. And he'd understand something fundamental. You couldn't undo the past. You could only choose differently moving forward. One evening in December, almost 3 years after they'd met in that restaurant, Ethan and Mara sat on their balcony. Grace was sleeping. Emma was at Amanda's. The city sparkled below them. "Do you ever regret it?" Mara asked. "Giving up Vale, the money, all of it?" "Not once." "Really? Really? I have everything I need right here. You, the kids, work that matters. What else is there?" She took his hand. "Some people would say you threw it all away. Some people measure success by bank accounts. I measure it by this. By you forgiving me even though I didn't deserve it. By Daniel being alive and sober. By kids discovering they matter. By Grace existing. By Emma still thinking I'm a good dad even when I'm not. You're a great dad. I'm a trying dad. There's a difference." "Same thing." They sat in comfortable silence. 3 years ago, Ethan had been sitting in a different apartment feeling empty. Now he felt full, sometimes too full. "I love you," he said, "in case I don't say it enough. You say it constantly, but I never get tired of hearing it." "Good, because I'm not stopping. Promise?" "Promise." The years that followed weren't perfect. Grace had colic. Emma struggled in school. Daniel relapsed once, got help, recovered. The foundation faced budget crises. Ethan and Mara fought about stupid things and important things and everything in between. But they kept showing up, kept trying, kept choosing each other and the life they'd built. The Ellis Center grew to 20 locations, then 30. Impact studies showed measurable change, kids graduating, going to college, breaking cycles of poverty, creating art, finding purpose. Other cities started replicating the model. The foundation became a blueprint for what was possible when you actually invested in communities instead of just talking about it. Ethan never went back to running companies. He sat on a few boards, advised some startups, but mostly he focused on the foundation and being present for his family. Emma grew into a fierce, creative teenager who wanted to change the world through art. Grace became a quiet, thoughtful kid who loved books and asked impossible questions. Daniel became a licensed social worker, opened his own practice, helped hundreds of people find their way out of addiction. Mrs. Ellis lived long enough to see the Ellis Center become a national model. She died peacefully at 73, surrounded by family, knowing her husband's name represented hope instead of failure. Mara kept painting. Her work evolved. Brighter colors, more light. But she never lost the depth. The understanding that beauty and pain could coexist. One painting hung in their bedroom, the one she'd made that night in her studio. Yellows and oranges breaking through darkness, hope emerging from grief. "That's us," Ethan said once, looking at it. "That's everyone," Mara corrected. "Anyone who's ever had to find light after the dark." "Does it get easier, the finding?" "No, but you get better at knowing where to look. On their 10th anniversary, they went back to Brooklyn Bridge Park, their bench, where they'd walked away from each other and somehow found their way back. "Think we'll make it another 10 years?" Mara asked. "At least. Maybe more if you keep putting up with me. You're less insufferable than you used to be." High praise. She leaned against him. "We did it, didn't we? Built something real from something broken." "We did. Your old business partners probably think you're crazy. Let them think it. I'd rather be crazy and happy than sane and empty." "You're still a billionaire, though. Can't be that crazy." "Millionaire. I gave away most of it." "Same difference to normal people." He laughed. "Fair point." They watched boats pass on the river. The same view as always, but different because they were different. "Can I tell you something?" Ethan said. "Always. That night we met, when you were working at that restaurant, I almost didn't tip you, almost just paid the bill and left like I did everywhere else. What changed your mind?" "Your eyes. They looked sad, but not defeated, like you'd been through hell but refused to stay there. It made me wonder what that felt like, to fight instead of giving up. And now you know." "Now I know." Mara turned to look at him. "You saved my life too, you know, not just me saving yours." "How?" "I destroyed your family." "Boy!" "And then you gave me a reason to rebuild, gave Daniel a reason to stay alive." Gave my mom peace before she died. Gave me work that matters, and a family I love, and a life I didn't think was possible after we lost Dad. We saved each other. Yeah, we did. They stayed until the sun set, until the city lights took over, until they were the only ones left in the park. Then they went home. To their kids. To their life. To the beautiful, messy, imperfect thing they'd built together. Because that's what redemption looked like. Not perfection, not erasing the past. Just choosing, every single day, to be better than you were. To build instead of destroy. To love instead of fear. To hope instead of hide. And sometimes, if you were lucky, to find someone willing to build and love and hope right alongside you. Even when it was hard. Especially when it was hard. Ethan had spent 20 years learning the wrong lessons. How to win, how to take, how to profit from other people's pain. But Mara taught him something different. Something harder, but infinitely more valuable. How to give. How to heal. How to turn pain into purpose. And in the end, that made all the difference. Not because it erased what he'd done. Nothing could do that. But because it gave meaning to what came after. And meaning, it turned out, was worth more than all the billions he'd ever made.